Welcome back. You're still watching Citizen TV. This is the Power Breakfast. The hashtag to use throughout this hour is Power Breakfast. Our Twitter handle is at Citizen TV Kenya. My Twitter handle is at Freddy Muli. Also tweet at Willis Waburu and at Joy_Muvengi. And remember, Man Cave, the big discussion is still coming up in the next hour. We want to wrap up our news review this morning, but we cannot do that without discussing this big headlines of both dailies, and it has to do with land. Raila Uhuru back to hot land debate. Just like in 2013 when Uhuru and Raila were caught up in the sticky issue of land ownership and historical injustices, the duo back at it, and it all started with a speech in Kajiado. It's the same headline, something to do with the same headline, arrest threats just hot air. Raila retorts, defending himself against accusations by Jubilee that his remarks, or rather remarks attributed to him while on a campaign trail of Kajiado County last week, were tantamount to incitement. I'm still in studio with Senator Beatrice Elachi, Cynthia Mutere, Chair of the Women's League in Fort Kenya, Omingo Magara, Party Leader, PDP, candidate for Senator Kisii County, and Deputy Governor for Murang'a County, Gakure Monyo, on the panel this morning. And the big question is, have we finally arrived at a proper galvanizing question, one that can excite both sides of the political divide, as well as also strike a chord in the Mwananchi, because we seem to be suffering from a lack of that. In 2013, the ICC issue was probably the main galvanizing question around the election. It was the one that moved masses towards voting for either side. In other previous elections, either get KANU out of the way or something close to that. This year, both sides of the political divide look like they're struggling and scrambling for anything that can come their way. That's why we keep changing headlines. Last week it was IEBC, the following day it was ICC, the following day it was land, then land came back, now we're back to this, IALA came back. Now, finally, do we think that with this land discussion, or rather the discussion about land, that we finally found something that will drive the campaign agenda towards the election? Cynthia, let's start with you.
Let me just say from the very beginning that when you describe it like both sides of the divide are grappling for a running course, I think it's a creation of the media, because I know for a fact that in NASA, one thing that we're standing on is the Bill of Rights, and the question has been the standard of living, the cost of living. And so the questions that are enshrined in the Bill of Rights, right to food, right to housing, right to shelter, right to employment, right to clean water. All these are the things, which is okay, because then you are taking sound bites from rallies and making them headlines. Whereas these are sound bites, all of them are encompassed in the cost of living. How to improve the cost of living? What has affected the cost of living? How do you improve livelihoods? How do you improve? And then that's where now there's been the question of UNGA. How do we first feed? And so that has been a big headline. And so when the presidential candidate for NASA goes into Kajiado and speaks about your land, don't sell off your land, there is value in your land. When we come into government, we will put in systems to help you support your land. We're talking about poverty. Why should you sell off your land? Then it becomes headline. Are we going to just zero in on land or the land? What is the panacea of why are you selling off your land? Why is there that poverty? And what are you trying, what is the solution to that?
Do you think that by doing that, that could create a buzz around the NASA campaign by pushing this land agenda, that probably it's time to discuss the historical injustices in as far as land is concerned, that probably that will ignite the masses? Because right now we seem to be talking about everything, because, hey, issues of land, health,
and what is the foundation to everything? Because all these are the problems.
You know, we need to wake up to the realization that telling people not to sell their property will not thrive anywhere. We all live in Nairobi, and most likely we all live in owned houses. Who initially was Nairobi's? It was the same Maasai. Nairobi was ancestral Maasai. We've all come, bought land, bought houses, and settled. Kajiado is purely cosmopolitan. I want to make a declaration that I own land in Kajiado because I could not get any more than 1 acre of land which my father inherited from my grandfather. And I didn't buy it just because it was being sold by a particular tribe. I sold it because the available land was in Kajiado. I don't see why anybody should tell someone not to sell what they own. If you have a need to liquidate what you want to liquidate, liquidate it. If Fred, tomorrow you want to sell your car, you will sell it. This land issue tried coming through. It came in 2013. It didn't sell.
So you don't see it holding?
It's come again. It will sell. We have had, and I'll say this, a call brigade saying that title deeds that were given as early as 2013, 2014 were fake. So the story of land has tried coming up, but it will sell. The Maasais and anybody who had land in Kajiado will sell. Take this from me. There are very many people of Asian descent who invested in Kajiado long time ago, and you find bigger tracts of land that are being sold in Kajiado, especially in the Bisley area. They are being sold by people of Asian descent because they invested in it. So it is not a question that people are selling because they just want to sell. They had invested in it, they were speculating, now it's a scam of age. Look at other areas. Look at Konza City, which is both Makueni and Machakos. People are investing in land there. Go to Laikipia in Nanyuki. People are buying land there from everywhere. So it will not sell.
By virtue of what you're saying, don't you therefore think that it is a discussion, a big enough discussion to actually become the galvanizing question around this campaign?
No, it won't be, because people will continue investing in land, settle where they want, and this issue of land owning in Kajiado was just trying to make people think that people are invading in your home counties. But Kajiado, Kitengera is predominantly all tribes of this country.
Yes. Yeah. But the fact that Jubilee and led by the president were quick to respond to the remarks by Raila Odinga shows that yes, this can actually give us a proper back and forth between Jubilee and NASA and probably become the main discussion around campaigns.
Well, first of all, I want to beg politicians. There are some issues, you know, you want a seat. I also want a seat in Dagoretti North. But I don't think I would look at that thing that I know when I touch it's sensitive, it entices, so that I get the seat. That one...
Isn't that exactly what happened in 2013 with the ICC issue?
And that is why I always say, even here, that let us leave ICC. How we came out of it, it is only God who knows, eh? So let us move forward, because I think what he wanted is a country to move forward. Try and read this Bible or Quran. We always read and say, forgive and move. And I hope we can do that and move forward. This land issue is what took us to what we saw in 2007. So I want to beg the media also, don't make it your headlines. We don't need to see Kenyans die.
But let
me tell you why I'm saying this, Fred. You know, I've sat in the cohesion committee, and it was the rhetoric remarks, very wrong remarks, way back in April, that politicians said in Laikipia North, and that is the time Laikipia started bleeding. Now, you people never carry those stories there, but you want now to carry this one of Kajiado. Kajiado is so sensitive. We have quite a big number. You're talking of Kikuyus. Now we have quite a big number of my Somali origins. We have quite a big number of my brothers from Kisii. We have quite a big number of the same Kikuyus, and they live harmoniously with the Maasais who have sold. Some are doing what they were being told. I'll tell you, today I have a group of old women in the age of 60. They invested, as he says, in Kajiado West in 1985. Today, the Chinese company that is doing the standard gauge railway has started now looking for, because they are coming for the second phase, so they are looking for places where they can put their equipment the way they did when they were coming. And our same Maasai brothers, because the father has passed on, and he's the one who sold the land, and now you have your children. The children have known this group of women for those years that they indeed bought this land. But what have they done? They went and made a title deed that is fake. They gave it to the Chinese company, And the Chinese company came in and they are doing everything. These women right now as we speak can only go now in that land with police, can only go there with, you know, shielded. And when they come in, the young boys, like these ones of Samburu, come in with machetes and tell them, if you step here, tutawachinja. Okay. Now, Fred, this is not a right title, let me tell you. Let us appreciate. When I go, I have land, I'll also confess, in Kajiado, very serious land, within Bisil, within Loitoktok. So, and we have many lawyers who have also invested. We have our own minority leader. He has land there with his property. So come on. And we have campus also there. Now what I just want to beg both, as I finish, my President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, my former Prime Minister, I am begging both of them. We love this country. We are not going to take headlines of 207 to make ourselves win. You either come with an agenda, serious agenda.
But don't you think that is a serious agenda?
If it's serious agenda has been the cause of living.
Is suggesting that we should not touch this.
All I have is land. I'm not saying it is the leader saying don't sell your land.
No, and let us not go don't sell. Let us say we've had serious issues.
Should I not give advisory counsel to the people?
It is.
We agree.
But I'm just saying,
it is an emotive issue.
I'm saying the one thing you're forgetting, it is an individual and a family issue.
It is a suggestion, Senator, that you give.
If I want to sell, and I'm not selling because we are just selling. It is because I have a problem and I see I have something
Senator,
to
remember my question. Have we found something that we can now discuss in the
allow me
Senator is suggesting that we should not touch the land issue.
No, allow me to come in now. It does not matter what strategy you want to use to get to power or rally the people behind you. Please note, are you igniting a fire that you're likely and be unable to pull off? I want to state yet again, in 2007, the government then gave us, the opposition, fodder to decampaign them. But let me confess also as a leader, because part of leadership, principles and qualities is own a mistake where you think it happened. We indeed decampaigned the then Kibaki government to a point that we almost pulled a trigger and the bullet went and we could not retrieve it back. This is what I'm just about to say.
It was around the land issue again.
Land issue. And when the elections were were stolen at that time, it was actually turned into land question that people then started starting toll stations and the roads to enrich themselves. People were evicted. We lost lives of innocent Kenyans. We cannot afford, and I am saying this both to my former party leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, and the President of the Republic of Kenya, to run away from land question like leprosy. In fact, it means we never learned enough. Revisiting this matter, it means Kenyans, and here's another Kenyan now speaking, we never learned enough from the last punishment we got by butchering our own people courtesy of this land question.
So you agree with Senator that we should stay away from
the community that I come from suffered the greatest. Now that was the Rift Valley, Kalenjin land. If you say that again in Maasai land, what you are telling me, I should start packing my bags from Mongata Rongai where I live. All of us must leave Nairobi for Maasais, including those who are shouting loudest, because they bought land here. I am requesting every sensible leader into this platform of leadership tomorrow, start a fire that you're able to pour off. Otherwise, we will be able to ignite this country, and there's no fire extinguisher that will extinguish this land upon the elections. I'm also asking the media and my good Kenyans who want to look for a wow point. A wow point can be policy. A wow point must not be incitement. A wow point must not talk about a weakness that you've seen that is not domiciled here. We're going back into ancestral histories of the colonialists who have affected us and our people in terms of land question. So I am asking, this is the most illegitimate rallying point. Even if it was, please give it a black eye, because it doesn't qualify to galvanize the country. If it does, and let me tell you also, you may think you're winning that vote where you're talking from.
the knock-on effect of the residents there can also cost you election.
Okay.
Because you are saying about all the non-residents in Maasai live, who could have been your potential voters. You're losing an election.
Wow.
Once again, let me just say this. Foundation for the NASA rally is to stand on the socio-economic tenets that are enshrined in the Constitution. If then I speak on one of these issues, and the pillars as enshrined in the Constitution are the ones that I mentioned, food, housing, shelter. Of course, when you touch on housing, it's on land. If your opponents, Jubilee, then take what I have spoken about, and I'm saying, my campaign is socio-economic rights, and then you take one of the issues of these socio-economic rights and spin it to make me look in bad light, and then make it seem that I am raising this as to be the rallying question, then it's Jubilee really that has
it's actually on both sides.
And both sides, I'm coming in to tell you people, you have your right to your food, you have your right to your land. Don't sell off this property. It has value. And soon we're going to have systems in place that will make you have a livelihood where you don't have to sell your land. We are addressing poverty. We are addressing poverty. If you do not see that we are trying to tackle the socio-economic then rights, and then you lift off one of the questions,
I say
and make the land an issue, flipping that argument,
this is money.
To bring it to 207, then
the Bill of Rights question taken out of context, you give him extreme right to exist at your own extinction. Your right starts and ends where mine starts. We must have limitations. And even if we take a cut and paste the Bill of Rights, if you let it loose, that's why you're seeing the kids who are not being disciplined in terms of Bill of Rights. There's no corporal punishment. They're butchering and whipping their own teachers. The Bill of Rights must be taken with a little caution and be able to live like decent, modern.
We cannot afford to be cosmetic on this land issue. Not at all. Because we know the pain of 2007-2008. And I take what President Uhuru says. We may not forgive, we may not forget, but we must always take cognizance that we made mistakes. And 2007-2008 was caused by the land issue. If we forget that that is what caused it, and now we reunite it, we are heading this country into the wrong direction.
You also agree that we should stay away from
we must respect people
it is
living in harmony.
Arguments. You
and
flip
people
the
must
argument.
live,
You flip the argument.
People must live together. It doesn't matter who my neighbor is, but it matters whether my neighbor throws
the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is up. I'll give you each, and let's agree on this. I'll give you each 45 seconds to wrap up your statement. If you choose to talk about the land issue, that's fine. But 45 seconds, we wrap it up. Let's start with you, Senator.
I will start with this and then finish. I would just say one thing. 45 seconds. I just want to tell Kenyans that indeed, if NASA will feel this is the right debate to flip, I want to tell you this. God gave our former Prime Minister a great opportunity that just after our 207, he was among the first, and given a docket of the same land, he had the best chance to show Kenyans, I can transform and ensure land works through Orengo and himself. And if that did not work at the right time, you come 10 years, you want to flip. And remember, all these issues are issues that are affecting Kenya. In Uganda right now, we have issues also of the same problems we are facing on hunger, on food. In Tanzania, the same. So as we talk about Kenya, let us remember, some of these things have become a regional issue. I want us never to go back. We can talk about land, how we ensure people get their title deeds, how the policy works, how we even stop some of them to sell, ensure if you have 3 acres you don't need to divide. Those are the issues. I hope she'll be in, I hope she'll be in the Senate, so that during that time we can work and legislate and ensure now we safeguard families, that when you have 3 acres you can agree you cannot subdivide it because you need it for food security.
Thank you, Senator.
Brother, let me say this yet again, that I do not care who says what and from what faction that said it. It is an emotive matter, please suspend it for whatever it takes. Number two, and the Bill of Rights and Social Justice, it entitles you to get free food, good food, and quality, shelter, and all. And the same bill of, the same constitution says you can live and coexist anywhere. Now tell me, I never bought land from a poor Maasai in my case. I bought from land. I've been the son of a senior chief, a very wealthy person. It's now late. Are you telling me now I extorted somebody to live in Omatrongai, for example? What we are saying here is we received bodies that were headless from Rift Valley. That is not one thing I want to participate in election for. If it means that I can even leave this election's proposals securing this nation together, so be it. Because what are you going to hold into your hands when you have nobody to lead because you're butchering ourselves? We learned our lessons. If we can't learn from the past, then we are putting our fingers in the hole where pythons live, and it is dangerous.
Okay, thank you, Bwana Magara.
In your statement, you said, what is the rallying call for 2017 election? You said in 2013 there was the ICC question. Then what are we talking about? In ICC, we were patriotic enough to say that we don't want our boys to go out there. It was a kind of colonial thing that why should the white people come and take our boys and convict them there? And I think this time we want to call upon the Kenyans to be patriotic enough, as they defended the people by voting Uhuru in, defend them once again by now confining them to another term of rehabilitation. Do not put them in office, because they have shown us how not to run government. And how not to run government is by taking an argument when I have spoken in a rally advising the community that this is valuable and do not just throw your pearls to the swines, then that person stands up as a statesman, and that statesman is the person that I want to put my vote in. And so I would advise that people really listen to both sides and see then who is then flipping the argument. If I'm telling you that this is valuable, don't get rid of it, and this one is flipping it to say that this is very emotive and this is what led us to it, then you need rehabilitation, because your words are the ones that are bringing us to that brink of 207.
Okay.
And therefore, you need to go into rehabilitation as I come and govern. And so I would really advise on August 8th that a NASA government comes into place.
Thank you, Cynthia. Finally.
My clarion call on this is that we should not just lay shades of hopelessness to get votes. We must be extremely responsible in what we say as leaders as we seek for votes. This is, we need Kenya in one piece, and going forward we want peace, we must live in harmony, and we must be brothers and sisters. We should not learn from mistakes that were done before, and we should not just lay hopelessness to Kenyans. We've heard the opposition talk of maize, IEBC, now this is land. I don't know what will come. Let us not get to a point where we will look like we have hit the political menopause. Thank
you so much, Gakure Monyo, Deputy Governor, Murang'a County. Cynthia Mutere, Chair of the Women's League in Ford Kenya. Very interesting. Look like we've hit political menopause. Beatrice Elachi, Senator, candidate for member of the National Assembly for Dagoretti North. And Bwana Omengo Magara, Party Leader, PDP, also candidate for Senator, Kisii County. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for helping us have this very candid discussion with regard to what is headlining on our dailies and other news outlets this morning. Power Breakfast still continues. Remember, Man Cave. That is a very interesting discussion with Willis Wamburu is coming up in the next hour. For me, my name is Fred Indimuli. Good morning.